Hello everyone, welcome to Move Well, Live Well. We've been getting a number of people coming in here, athletes in particular, who are having some issues with their wrist. And sometimes what's happening with these athletes is they'll be doing a particular exercise. It could be a bench press or any kind of pressing movement. But what we're seeing mostly is sometimes if they're in that front rack position with their front squats, like this, they're in their front squats and they're in here with that bar like this, they're getting some issues in their wrist. And then when they're finished with their exercise, they're having problems pushing down. They're feeling a pinching in their wrist. So when they get to that end range here in their wrist, they're feeling a pinchy feel. Sometimes it feels like it needs to pop, but it doesn't quite feel right because they've been in this position for a while. And what's happened is some of the carpal bones, in particular, one or more of the carpal bones have subluxed in there a little bit, or a little bit out of place. And for being in this position for a period of time when they're doing their front squats, and they're getting that pinchy sensation. It doesn't feel like their wrist feels right. They're even feeling weakness when they try to grip something. It hurts within their wrist. It just feels like something is out or needs to pop. So how do we fix that? Well, this is a simple solution that you can do at home to fix that particular issue within that pinchy sensation in your wrist. If you do any kind of weight training or anything like that, you're probably familiar with one of these. This is a wrist wrap. And it helps with increasing the grip when you're doing any kind of pulling exercise. But you can modify it to use it to give a little distraction in your wrist to alleviate some of that pinching sensation that you feel when you're gripping something or you're going into that end range after your exercise that caused that particular carpal bone to misalign, if you will. So this is just your normal wrist strap that you can get on Amazon. It's relatively inexpensive. This is, within less than $10 and you got a pair of wrist wraps. How I like to do this, you just basically loop this around like this. I like to have that, I don't know if you can see that because it's kind of dark, but I like to have this seam. See, there's a seam in which this is sewn and there's a little loop here to loop it around. But I like having this seam on the outside. On my right hand, I like to have this seam on the outside part. If you can kind of see that there, it's kind of dark. I like to have the seam on the outside part, my thumb side. It just feels nicer. Versus if this seam was on the inside, it'd be pushing on your inside part of your hand and it doesn't feel good. See that? I don't know if you can see that seam there, right there. So I like having that seam on the outside so it doesn't pinch when I have it, when I'm using it. So the idea here, let me lift this up a little bit so you can kind of see. I'm going to use the pull-up bar to help me out here. What I'm going to do, if you can kind of see where I've wrapped my hand, I'm not on my wrist, I'm on my hand. So I've looped this around my hand here. You can kind of see that. And now I'm going to be able to provide a distraction to the carpal bones in my wrist. See that? You see I can tug on that and it's providing a nice pull, nice tension in through there to open up the carpal bones in my wrist. If I have it too low, if you're here in your forearm, you're not going to quite get the same effect. You want it on your hand. See how my wrist bends here, and I can get distraction on the wrist. I can distract my hand, so that opens up the wrist bones, the carpal bones. So there we are here. Got this looped around, and I'm going to use the pull-up bar. See if I can get this here. So I'm going to use the pull-up bar. Now I don't want to loop it around like I normally do. See, this is what I normally do when I'm doing an exercise or something like that, and I'm losing my grip. I'll get it real tight, and now I can do particular exercises, for instance, with this tightened on. but I want to put a little slack in the wrist strap. See that? Now I'm using my other hand. So if this is my involved hand, my involved wrist that's having a problem, I use my other hand here to hold that end part of the wrap. And now I can use this hand to pull a little bit. So I'm pulling down and I'm opening this up. See that? I'm using the weight of my hand, my arm, excuse me, and I'm just letting this hang here. All right? And I can take my wrist, and as I'm pulling just gently, I can take my wrist to different ranges of motion. I can distract it. I can deviate here. I can deviate that way, radial, ulnar. I can go into a little bit of flexion. I can go into a little bit of extension. And I'm basically taking my hand through different ranges of motion as I'm distracting those carpal bones. So, as I'm pulling here, so if this was hooked up onto the pull-up bar, as this is pulling, you can kind of see I'm taking my hand, and it's giving an upward pull, and then I'm at the same time as giving an upward pull on my hand, I'm trying to bring my arm down, and it's opening up, causing a distraction in the carpal bones, opening up the carpal bones like in this fashion, just like that. See that? If these were the carpal bones in my wrist, my two fists, you can see that as it opens up just like that. So, see that? See that pull? You can kind of see that pull here. Okay? So, again, these are very inexpensive. These wrist wraps you can get to help with your pulling exercises. Sometimes you could lose your grip when you're doing your pulling exercises such as pull-ups, rows, deadlifts, that type of thing. And these are really, really inexpensive. You can get on Amazon. So, great tool though. You want to put it on your hand away from your wrist so you can get that distraction there. And then you're using the bar, pull-up bar. Okay. And then all you're doing is holding this at the pull-up bar, this end right here, holding that and just applying a little bit of pull, and it opens up the carpal bones. And you can take it through some range of motion. Did you hear that click? My wrist just clicked a little bit there. I can take it through radial or ulnar deviation. I can do a little bit of flexion as I pull, a little bit of extension as I pull. And as you do a little bit of pulling, sometimes you may hear a pop like I just did within your carpal bones. Now, you don't want to do this, with a bunch of weight and sitting there hanging from your carpal bones. You don't want to do that. You just want to try to give a little bit of tension to open up those carpal bones. And as those bones open up like that, they come back into where they're supposed to be. And then when you go and do those movements again, such as gripping or going into full extension, even full flexion, it doesn't pinch anymore, and that discomfort and pain of needing to pop will go away. So, if you have any questions with this video, obviously drop them off in the comment section below. We thank you for watching. We appreciate it. Please give us a thumbs up. It lets us know you care. And please hit subscribe so that way you don't miss any videos coming down here in the near future. And when you hit subscribe, make sure you hit that bell notifications button. And obviously share this with others so that way other people can benefit from these videos. Again, we thank you for watching. We appreciate it. We'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.